Chosen one. Pause for a moment. This is not by accident. This is not the scroll of chance. Heaven has interrupted your timeline to whisper something that will shift the ground beneath your feet. You are not like the rest. You were never meant to blend into the crowd. You carry a fire that does not come from earth. And today, God wants you to understand, your faith is the master key, the divine code, the instrument that unlocks every locked place in your journey. Think about it. So many doors seemed closed in your life. Opportunities delayed. Prayers unanswered. Relationships broken. Nights where silence felt heavier than stone. Yet you are still here. That in itself is proof that God's hand has not let you go. You may feel weary, but listen carefully. Heaven has pressed pause on everything just to speak into your spirit. God says, faith is not something you merely believe in. Faith is the force that shifts realities. No, the Word of God declares in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. These words are not poetry, they are eternal law. Faith builds what your eyes cannot yet see. It is the invisible key that fits every locked door placed before you. Beloved, you have carried pain that others would have collapsed under. You've endured silent battles where no one clapped for you. No one even knew the weight you bore. Yet you pressed forward. That wasn't just human strength, that was faith working quietly inside you. That was God proving to the unseen realm that you are His chosen vessel, marked, set apart, anointed to stand when others would have bowed. And yet, you wonder, why me? Lord, why the tears? Why the rejection? Why the loneliness? Because only chosen ones are placed in the fire. Only chosen ones are refined like gold. You are not weak. Chosen one. You are being shaped to become the key holder, the one who walks into doors others cannot enter. Faith has been forged inside you through trial, through storms, through nights when you thought it was over. So hear this clearly. Stop doubting. Stop minimizing who you are. You are the carrier of something holy, something unstoppable. Your faith is the password of heaven. It terrifies the kingdom of darkness because it cannot be purchased. It cannot be manipulated. It cannot be copied. It is yours. And when you activate it fully, every chain breaks. This is why I must tell you, plainly share this message. Don't keep it locked within yourself. Like, comment, and subscribe, not as a ritual, but as an act of alignment. Each action is you declaring, yes, I recognize this word is for me. Yes, I step into my identity. Yes, I will not shrink back. Heaven responds to faith made visible, and every visible act of obedience releases an invisible breakthrough. Chosen one. Take a breath. Let it sink in. You are not small. You are not forgotten. You are a world shaker, and your faith is the key. Don't underestimate it. Another day. You are standing on the threshold of your greatest breakthrough. Heaven is waiting for your yes. Comment this number now. 770. 7. A prophetic sign that you receive the key of faith for your new season. Chosen one. Lean closer. The struggles that tried to break you were never random. Every storm, every shadow, every whisper of fear, these were designed to reveal the authority of faith in your life. You've seen fear rise like a giant, threatening to silence your voice, to paralyze your steps. Yet deep within you, God planted something stronger, something eternal. Fear may roar, but faith whispers with a thunder that cannot be denied. You know how fear works. It disguises itself as logic, as caution, as safety. It says, "Don't try. Don't step forward. Stay where you are." But the moment faith rises inside you, fear begins to crumble. Faith is not the denial of reality. Faith is the higher reality that bends every circumstance to bow before the will of God. That is why you, chosen one, are still standing after all you've faced. Your faith has been carrying you, even when you did not recognize it. Look back for a moment. Do you remember the times when the weight of despair pressed so heavily you could hardly breathe? Do you remember when rejection cut so deep it seemed like the world had turned against you? Fear wanted to end you there, but faith kept you breathing. Faith kept you moving. Faith whispered, "There is more ahead." That whisper was not from your own strength. It was the Spirit of God reminding you of your destiny. The Word of God speaks through the writings of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10. "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you." This is more than comfort. It is covenant. Heaven itself promises to hold you up when fear tries to pull you down. Fear is the weapon of the enemy, but faith is the armor of the chosen. You have been equipped with an invisible shield that stops every flaming arrow launched against your mind and heart. That's why the enemy has tried so desperately to flood your thoughts with doubt. He knows that if your faith stands firm, nothing in his arsenal can touch you. Chosen one, take this as your confirmation. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. God is closer than the breath in your lungs. Every trembling moment was only the stage for him to prove his strength through your faith. Fear shouted, but it never had the final word. You kept walking. You kept believing. You kept holding on to the unseen hand of your Creator. And hear me, faith is not the absence of trembling. Sometimes your knees shake. Sometimes your voice cracks. But you still step forward. That is faith. Courage is not about feeling fearless. It's about moving, even while fear tries to suffocate you. And you, beloved, have already proven that you can do it. You have already proven that the fire cannot consume you, that the storm cannot drown you, that the darkness cannot steal your light. Lift your head, chosen one. Fear bows today. Faith rises. Heaven looks at you and smiles, because the victory you thought was far away is already being written into your story. You do not need to chase it. You need only to believe. Faith is the key that unlocks what fear tried to block. So, walk forward. Your path is lit. The God who promised to uphold you is faithful. Fear has no power over one who has been chosen. Chosen one. You know this truth well. Some of your greatest victories were never witnessed by others. They were not celebrated on platforms, not shouted from rooftops, not even understood by the people closest to you. These were the battles fought in silence, tears on the pillow, prayers whispered into the night, moments when it was just you and God, hidden wars, invisible fights, and yet you emerged stronger. That is the proof that you are chosen. Because God trusts you to fight battles, No one else can see. You may not realize it. But every hidden battle left a mark of glory upon your soul. When others thought you were weak, heaven was declaring you victorious. When people overlooked your struggle, angels leaned close, bearing witness to your endurance. You survived, not because of luck, but because of faith. You stood when others would have collapsed, because something greater carried you through. There were nights when anxiety tried to steal your breath, when despair tried to write the ending of your story, but your faith rose like a keyed shield. It was not flashy. It did not make headlines, but it preserved you. You are here because unseen victories were won in the secret place. The world may never clap for you, but heaven has already written your name in the scrolls of the faithful. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 34, verse 17, "The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. Every tear you cried, God heard. Every time you felt crushed, He was delivering you quietly, lifting you up even when you didn't feel His hand. Chosen one. Don't despise those hidden seasons. Don't look at them as wasted time. They were training grounds. They were the forge where your faith was purified like gold. You were learning to trust without applause, to believe without evidence, to keep moving when the way was dark. This is why you shine differently. This is why your spirit carries weight, because you have been refined in fire that others never even saw. Now hear me. You are not called to hide anymore. Those hidden battles were necessary, but they were not permanent. God is preparing to bring into the open the strength you built in secret. What was private will become public testimony. What was unseen will become undeniable evidence of God's power through you. Your story will inspire those who feel invisible, those who think no one sees their pain. You will be the voice that says, I know what it feels like to fight alone, but you are never truly alone, because God hears every cry. Now, and here's your prophetic act right now. Comment these words, I hear you. Type it boldly. Why? Because when you declare it, you're saying to God, I recognize your voice in this moment. I am not blind to what you are doing in my life. I hear you calling me. I hear you strengthening me. I hear you confirming that my hidden battles were not in vain. This is more than a comment. It's a seal of agreement. It's you stepping out of silence into testimony. So lift your head. Beloved, you have nothing to hide, because God has already crowned your hidden victories with eternal glory. You are proof that faith triumphs in secret just as much as it does in the open. And the same God who carried you quietly will now display you boldly as His chosen one. Chosen one. Hear this clearly. Faith is not an abstract idea, not a vague concept reserved for sermons or sacred texts. Faith is substance, a living key placed in your hands. Too often, people treat faith like a feeling, something that comes and goes depending on circumstances. But for you, faith is not meant to be occasional or fragile. Faith is the master key that unlocks doors others cannot even find. Think of the closed doors in your life. Doors of opportunity that seemed to slam shut. Doors of healing that felt delayed. Doors of relationships, restoration, and provision that looked permanently sealed to the natural eye. They were impossible barriers, but God whispers to you today, those doors respond not to human effort, not to connections or striving, but to faith. Faith inserts itself into locks that seem unmovable and turns them with divine authority. You may ask, why me? Lord, why place such a responsibility in my hands? Because you are chosen to carry keys that others are too afraid to hold. You are chosen to walk paths others cannot even imagine. Faith is not just for your survival, it is for your calling. It is the instrument that will open realms of influence, grace, and breakthrough designed only for you. Consider how faith operates. It does not require sight. It does not demand evidence. It does not wait for human approval. Faith is obedience when everything else screams impossible. Faith is the act of standing before a locked door and declaring, "This must open because God has promised." And every time you move in that conviction, heaven backs you. According to what is revealed in the book of Matthew, chapter 17, verse 20, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, "Move from here to there," and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. This is not metaphor. This is not exaggeration. It is the divine reality that you, chosen one, are invited to live in daily. Do you see it now? You have been walking around with keys in your spirit the entire time. That's why resistance has been so fierce. That's why the enemy has tried to drown you in doubt, because he knows that once you recognize the key of faith in your hand, no chain, no wall, no gate of hell can stand against you. Think of how a key works. A key is small, often overlooked, but it carries the exact shape to unlock what is closed. Your faith may feel small, but it has been precisely designed to fit the very obstacles in your path. The mountain before you is not random. It was tailored for your faith to move. The door that looks sealed was created so your key could prove its power. Chosen one, do not underestimate what you carry. Do not despise the simplicity of faith. It may look fragile, but it is stronger than iron. It may look invisible, but it builds worlds, and it belongs to you. You are the key holder in your family, in your generation, in your calling. You are the one who will unlock legacies, break cycles, and open doors that bless countless others. Lift your eyes and remember, you are not wandering aimlessly. You are walking with keys in your hands. And when you use them, when you choose faith over doubt, doors swing wide and mountains crumble. This is who you are. This is why you are chosen. Chosen one. The walls around you have tried to convince you that they are permanent. The barriers of limitation, the ceilings of impossibility, the invisible lines drawn to keep you contained, all of them have shouted the same lie. This is as far as you can go. But today God speaks louder. The walls are trembling, not because of your own strength, but because of the raw force of your faith. Every limitation you've faced has been a test, not a punishment, not a sign of abandonment, but a test of whether you would believe what your eyes see, or whether you would trust what heaven has promised. Those walls were never designed to stop you. They were designed to reveal what happens when faith collides with opposition. And now, the cracks are forming. What looked immovable is beginning to shake because you dared to believe. Think about Jericho. God didn't bring those walls down with weapons, ladders, or human strategy. He brought them down through obedience, through faith, through sound released at the right time. Your walls are no different. They don't fall because you push harder. They fall because you trust deeper. The enemy wants you to think you're trapped. But God says, Look again. The ground is trembling beneath your feet because faith is already at work. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, second letter, chapter 5, verse 7, "For we walk by faith, not by sight. This is the secret. Your eyes may see walls, but your spirit sees doors. Your eyes may see limits, but your faith sees breakthrough." Chosen one. As you read this, I want you to pause and recognize something powerful. This message is a mirror of what God is doing in your life right now. If it resonates, it's not coincidence. Heaven orchestrated this moment to remind you that you are not stuck. You are one faith act away from your greatest breakthrough. And because this word is not just for you, I ask you to share it. Let this message ripple outward. When you like, share, or subscribe, you're not just supporting a channel, you're aligning yourself with a movement of faith that sets others free. Think of it as extending the same key God has placed in your hand to someone else who feels trapped behind their own walls. That simple action may be the very spark they need. This is why I ask you, sincerely and with love, don't let this word stop with you. If it stirred your spirit, pass it on. If it strengthened you, multiply its reach. By doing so, you're declaring, I'm not just a receiver of breakthrough, I am a carrier of it. That is the posture of the chosen. That is what turns one victory into a chain reaction of freedom for many. So take courage. The shaking you feel around you is not the sign of collapse, it's the sign of walls crumbling. Your faith is demolishing barriers you thought you'd never cross. And as you step through, others will follow. This is your moment. This is why you're chosen. And this is why heaven called you here. Right now, chosen one. Pause and notice the alignment happening in your life. Certain doors are closing. Certain connections are shifting. And certain opportunities that once seemed essential are fading away. Do not be alarmed. This is not loss. This is positioning. God is placing you in exact alignment. Like a master builder, setting every stone into place. And the key to this alignment is your faith. Faith pulls heaven's resources into your earthly situation. Faith draws favor, provision, and timing into perfect harmony. Think about how many times you tried to force things to work in your own strength. You pushed, you pulled, you planned, but doors refused to open. Then, at the right time, with the simplest step of trust, something broke loose. That wasn't chance, that was alignment. Heaven moved when your faith did. Alignment is not always comfortable. Sometimes it looks like detours, delays, or even disappointments. But what feels like rejection is often redirection. God does not allow anything to slip away from your life unless it is clearing the path for something greater. Your faith is what anchors you during these transitions, reminding you that the author of your destiny is too precise to miscalculate. Chosen one. Alignment also means protection. God sees danger you cannot see, so he closes doors you would have walked through blindly. What you call a missed chance, heaven calls mercy. What you call delay, heaven calls preparation. Every movement is intentional. Every shift is divine. Faith trains your heart to trust the unseen hand arranging your tomorrow. And when the pieces finally connect, you will look back with awe. You'll realize not a single step was wasted, not a single moment forgotten. Faith was guiding you the entire time, unlocking blessings that only obedience could reach. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do you see it? You are not navigating this alignment alone. Every step you take is under divine supervision. Chosen one. The very shifts that make others panic are the ones designed to propel you forward. When people walk away, your faith whispers, God is with me. When resources seem thin, your faith declares, heaven's storehouses are full. When the future looks uncertain, your faith reminds you, my path is ordered. This is alignment when the unseen becomes more real to you than what your eyes perceive. You may not yet understand why things unfolded the way they did, but soon it will be clear. The friendships that drifted, the doors that stayed locked, the opportunities that dissolved, they were all part of heaven's reordering. Your faith has been unlocking the exact sequence needed for your breakthrough. Just as a key must turn in the right position to open a lock, so your faith is turning your life into divine alignment. Now here is what I want you to do as a prophetic act. Comment this number, 888. Why? Because 888 represents new beginnings, abundance, and the unending flow of God's covenant promises. When you type it, you're not just dropping numbers, you are agreeing with heaven's alignment. You are declaring, Lord, I trust that my steps are ordered, that my future is secured, and that I am aligned with your perfect will. Beloved, don't underestimate this moment. You are standing where heaven and earth meet. Faith is pulling resources you cannot see, aligning opportunities you cannot yet imagine, and creating a path you could never design yourself. Stay steady, stay anchored, stay in faith. Everything is falling into place, exactly as God intended. Chosen one. Listen closely. The enemy does not tremble at your strength, your talent, or your resources. What shakes the kingdom of darkness is your faith. Faith carries a sound, an authority, a command that heaven honors and hell fears. When you believe, you are not merely expressing hope, you are activating the very power of God on earth. That is why the attacks against you have been so relentless. The enemy knows that if he cannot break your faith, he cannot break you. Think about it. Every time doubt tried to creep into your mind, every time fear whispered, you won't make it, something inside you resisted. That resistance was faith, speaking louder than despair. That's why the enemy targets your confidence, not your body, your assurance, not just your circumstances, because if your faith collapses, everything else crumbles. But as long as your faith stands, you remain unshakable. The adversary studies you, searching for weaknesses. He notices the moments you feel tired, overlooked, or uncertain. He tries to twist those feelings into lies that make you question God's promises. Yet even in your weakest hour, your faith becomes a shield. It covers you when you feel exposed. It strengthens you when you are weary. It ignites hope when your vision grows dim. The prophet Elijah once confronted a nation that had bowed to fear, intimidation, and idols. Standing alone on Mount Carmel, he faced hundreds of false prophets. From the outside, he looked outnumbered, But Elijah carried something greater, unwavering faith in the living God. That faith called down fire from heaven and silenced the voice of darkness. In the same way, your faith does what logic cannot. It calls down fire that exposes lies, consumes doubt, and proves that God is alive in your story. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 16, "Above all, taking the shield of faith, with which you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked." This is not poetic language, it is your daily reality. The darts may come in the form of discouragement, betrayal, or temptation, but faith extinguishes them before they can take root. Chosen one. That is why you often feel resistance right when you are about to step into new territory. The enemy is terrified of your forward motion. He does not want you to realize the authority you carry in your faith. But remember this, intimidation is a confession of weakness. The darkness pushes hardest when it knows it is about to lose ground. So do not be surprised at the warfare around you. See it for what it is, confirmation that your faith is dangerous. Confirmation that your light disrupts darkness. Confirmation that your trust in God is shaking invisible realms. Every battle you face is not only about you, it is about the generations your breakthrough will impact. Lift your spirit. Chosen one. Stand firm. Your faith is not fragile, it is forged in fire. The enemy knows this, and that is why he trembles. But you have no need to fear, for your faith anchors you in victory, crowns you in authority, and proves once again that you are chosen by the Almighty. Chosen one. Every wilderness season has carried a purpose. Those dry places, those silent nights, those stretches of waiting where heaven seemed far away, they were not punishment. They were training grounds. The wilderness is where faith is sharpened, where trust is refined, and where obedience is tested. It is in those hidden deserts that God prepares his chosen ones for greater assignments. Think about the patterns in Scripture. Before David ever held a crown, he learned to wield his faith in lonely fields, guarding sheep with nothing but a sling and trust in God. Before Moses ever stood before Pharaoh, he spent years in the wilderness, tending flocks, learning humility and dependence. Even Jesus, before he launched his ministry, was led into the desert to fast, pray, and stand firm against the enemy's lies. If the wilderness was necessary for them, why would it be different for you? You have felt the weight of isolation. Friends drifted. Opportunities dissolved. Prayers seemed to echo back without response. Yet in those moments, heaven was closer than you realized. The silence was not absence, it was shaping. God was teaching you to hear him beyond noise, to trust him beyond evidence, to walk by faith when the path looked invisible. The prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the vision is yet for the appointed time. It hastens toward the goal, and it will not fail. Though it tarries, wait for it will certainly come. It will not delay." These words are the heartbeat of the wilderness. Waiting is not wasted. It is proof that God's vision is unfolding with precision. Chosen one. You may have felt overlooked, but heaven has been watching every step. The wilderness revealed your resilience. It proved that your faith is not conditional, that you will cling to God even when blessings feel far. That kind of loyalty cannot be faked. It cannot be imitated. It is born only in the desert, when every crutch is stripped away and faith becomes your only anchor. And consider this, the wilderness is where manna fell from heaven. It is where water gushed from a rock. It is where the impossible became normal. That same God who sustained his people in barren land has been sustaining you. Every day you survived, the wilderness is testimony that he has been present, providing in ways you may not even recognize yet. There is something sacred about emerging from the desert. You do not leave the same as you entered. The wilderness refines vision, deepens humility, and sharpens discernment. You now see through different eyes. What once intimidated you no longer has power. What once defined you has lost its grip. You are no longer desperate for applause, because you have already survived with only God as your companion. And now, beloved, the season is shifting. The wilderness was never forever, it was preparation. You are stepping into the promise with skills, endurance, and faith you could not have gained any other way. What seemed like a delay was, in truth, acceleration disguised as stillness, because while everything looked motionless, God was building within you a strength that nothing can break. So honor your wilderness. Do not despise it. It carved in you the qualities of a leader, a warrior, and a chosen vessel. It has equipped you for the doors that are opening next. And as you move forward, remember, the same God who sustained you in the desert will prosper you in the land of promise. Chosen one. Can you feel it? A crown is being positioned above your head, not a crown of earthly gold, not the fleeting recognition of people, but the eternal crown heaven has written into your story. This crown is not given by men, and it cannot be stolen by the enemy. It is placed upon those who remain steadfast, who hold on when everything around them says, "Let go." Your faith has been the unseen qualification. Your perseverance has been the silent proof that you were always destined to wear it. There is a reason you have felt pressure so heavy. A crown is weighty. It represents authority, responsibility, and legacy. Before God places it on your head, He ensures your shoulders are strong enough to bear it. Every tear you cried in silence, every battle you fought in the dark, every disappointment you endured, they were shaping you to carry this crown without it crushing you. Do you remember the times you questioned whether you would ever see breakthrough, whether all your waiting would mean anything? Those questions were real, but deeper than the doubt was faith refusing to die. That refusal is why the crown belongs to you. Heaven saw it. Angels witnessed it. God Himself recorded every moment you chose to stand. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, first letter, chapter 9, verse 25. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it for a crown that will not last, but we, for one, eternal. This is the prize you are stepping into, not temporary success, but eternal reward. Beloved, lift your eyes. You are not forgotten. The crown is nearer than you think. And it is not only about your future in eternity, it is also about the authority you carry here and now. This crown signifies that you walk with heaven's approval. It means you move with the backing of the kingdom. Doors will respond differently because you are crowned. Atmospheres will shift when you enter. Because you are crowned. Darkness will tremble. Because your crown shines with the light of faith. But let me tell you something crucial. Crowns are not just worn, they are chosen. God has prepared yours, but you must accept it. You cannot shrink back in fear. You cannot disqualify yourself with doubt. The crown is for those who boldly say, "Yes, Lord, I receive." That yes activates what heaven has been waiting to release. So here's what I want you to declare as your prophetic act. Comment these words: "I choose my crown." Just 3 simple words, but powerful beyond measure. When you write them, you are saying, "I no longer run from who I am. I no longer minimize my calling. I embrace the crown heaven has prepared for me." This comment is not for me, it is for you. It seals in writing what you already know in your spirit. Chosen one. Never forget, the trials did not break you, they built you. The fire did not consume you, it purified you. And now, the crown is placed before you. Your faith has carried you here, and your faith will carry you further still. Step into it with courage. Heaven applauds, earth will witness, and eternity will confirm that you are crowned with glory and purpose. Chosen one. Feel the shift. Doors are beginning to swing wide before you. For so long, you knocked and nothing moved. You prayed and nothing seemed to change. You stood outside doors that felt sealed shut. But now, because of your obedience and unwavering faith, heaven is moving hinges that men could not. Doors once closed are opening, not by human permission, but by divine decree. Understand this truth. No human being, no system, no gatekeeper has the authority to permanently shut what God has ordained for you. They may delay it. They may resist it, but they cannot deny it. When heaven commands a door to open, nothing in creation can keep it shut. And you, chosen one, are stepping into that moment right now. Do you know why these doors matter so much? Because behind them are resources, opportunities, and connections that will accelerate your purpose. Behind them are assignments waiting for your voice, your presence, your anointing. The enemy worked tirelessly to convince you that you would always be on the outside looking in. But God says, step forward. You are not an outsider. You are the one the door was always meant to open for. It is written in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 9. I am the door. If anyone enters through me, he will be saved, and will go in and out, and find pasture. Jesus himself is the door, and because your faith rests in him, you are guaranteed access. Not access to just any path, but access to the one that leads to life, fullness, and purpose. Think back to the times when rejection stung, when opportunities slipped through your hands, when people closed their hearts against you. Those were painful, but they were never final. They were only shadows preparing you for the true doors God himself is now opening. Rejection redirected you. Closed doors protected you. And today, open doors are launching you. Chosen one. I ask you from my heart, don't keep this revelation to yourself. There are so many who stand at locked doors, discouraged and weary, wondering if they will ever step into promise. When you like, share, and subscribe, you're not just supporting a message, you're carrying a torch into someone else's darkness. You're saying, if God can open doors for me, he can open them for you too. Think of it this way. Your simple act of sharing might be the very message that stops someone from giving up. Your click might be the spark that rekindles faith in another soul. That's why I ask you, Sincerely help this word reach beyond you, because the same doors God is opening for your life will inspire countless others to believe again. And don't underestimate the power of subscribing. It's not just following a channel, it's choosing to stay connected to a flow of words that build your spirit and keep your faith alive. In a world drowning in voices of fear, staying aligned with voices of faith is more than choice. It's survival. Chosen one. The hinges are moving. The gates are opening. And the path before you is illuminated. The enemy wanted you stuck in hallways of waiting. But today God says, enter in. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are no longer begging at doors. By faith, you are walking through them. And as you do, you'll realize every delay was only setting up the magnitude of this breakthrough. The doors are open. Walk boldly. The kingdom is waiting. Chosen one, understand this. Faith is not only about survival, it is about authority. When you believe, you are not just clinging to hope, you are clothing yourself in kingdom power. Faith is a garment, invisible to the natural eye, but undeniable in the spiritual realm. It identifies you as a citizen of heaven, one who carries authority to walk boldly where others hesitate. This authority is not loud, boastful, or arrogant. It is steady, rooted, unshakable. Authority means you no longer tremble before storms. You command peace in the middle of them. Authority means you don't run from serpents, you tread on them. Authority means you don't merely endure the fire, you walk through it without being consumed. The wilderness, the rejection, the silent battles, all of them were shaping this authority in you. Every trial became a training ground. Every tear became oil. Every wound became a testimony. That is why the enemy fears you. He sees not just a believer, but a warrior clothed in the armor of faith. The Word of God declares in the book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19, Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. These words are not symbolic, they are a legal decree. Heaven has authorized you to walk in dominion, not defeat. Chosen one. Realize what this means for your daily life. That situation that has been mocking you, it cannot stand against your faith. That fear that tries to whisper at night, it has no authority to touch you. That generational chain that seemed unbreakable, it must bow to the authority you carry. You are not begging God for scraps, you are walking as His child, bearing His name, carrying His kingdom. Sometimes you don't feel powerful, sometimes you feel small, tired, or overlooked. But authority is not about feeling, it's about identity. Whether you feel it or not, the mantle rests upon you, just as a crown sits on a monarch's head, regardless of mood. The garment of authority rests on you, regardless of emotion. And here is the truth the enemy desperately hopes you never realize. The moment you step fully into this authority, the battles you once struggled with will lose their grip. The chains will break. Not because you shouted louder, but because you finally recognized who you are. Your authority is not in your voice, but in the name you carry, the name of the King who chose you. So walk boldly. Chosen one, do not shrink back when storms rise. Do not retreat when serpents hiss. You have been clothed with something the world cannot take away. Your authority is the seal of your chosenness, the mark that declares to every realm, this one belongs to heaven. Remember, always, you are not ordinary. You are authorized, chosen one. There are moments when heaven confirms its word, not only through inner whispers, but through outward signs. You have noticed patterns, numbers that repeat, moments that align, unexpected confirmations that arrive right when you need them most. These are not coincidences. They are prophetic indicators that God is speaking, guiding, and marking your steps. Your faith is the key that activates these divine confirmations. You see, faith doesn't just believe blindly, it recognizes signs that others ignore. Faith is sensitive to heaven's language. When others dismiss a sequence of events as random, you recognize it as God's handwriting on your journey. When others see numbers, you discern them as prophetic markers. This is the advantage of being chosen. You are attuned to the frequency of the divine. Remember how Gideon, in his uncertainty, asked God for signs to confirm the promise, and God, in mercy, answered. Remember how the wise men followed the star until it led them to the newborn king. God has always used visible signs to confirm invisible truths. He does the same with you today. We find in the book of Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6, being confident of this very thing, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. This is the essence of prophetic signs. They remind you that God has not abandoned the work He started. Every number, every alignment is a reassurance that the author is still writing. Chosen one. You may have wondered if you are on the right path. Doubt may whisper, "You've missed it. You've gone too far astray." But the signs are proof otherwise. Heaven keeps leaving confirmations along your way, nudging you forward, reminding you that your steps are still ordered. Faith is what allows you to trust these whispers instead of dismissing them. And now, as a prophetic act, I want you to engage with this alignment. Comment this number, 444. Why? Because 444 symbolizes open gates, divine protection, and angelic presence surrounding you. By writing it, you're not just dropping digits, you're making a declaration. You are saying, "I see the signs. Lord, I receive your confirmation. I know you are with me, and I choose to keep walking by faith." This comment becomes more than text. It becomes a seal of agreement with what God is already showing you. It is your response to the signs He is releasing, just as faith without works is dead. Prophetic confirmations without acknowledgement lose their weight. Your comment is the act of acknowledgement. Chosen one. Remember this: the same God who aligned stars in the heavens is aligning details in your life. The same God who whispered to prophets through visions is whispering to you through patterns and signs. Do not brush them aside. Treasure them. They are the fingerprints of heaven on your path. Lift your eyes with confidence. The work is not finished, and neither are you. Prophetic alignment is guiding you step by step, and your faith ensures you will not miss the way. The signs are clear. The confirmations are real. And you, chosen one, are walking in the center of divine order. Chosen one, you have often felt the weight of darkness pressing close, trying to smother your light. But hear this truth: light does not struggle to overcome darkness, it simply shines. And darkness has no choice but to retreat. Your faith is that light. It may seem fragile at times, like a flickering flame in the wind, but in reality, it is unquenchable. Untouchable. Unstoppable. The darker the night becomes, the brighter your faith burns. You are not just surviving the darkness, you are disrupting it. Your very presence shifts atmospheres. People may not understand why they feel peace when you enter. Why hope stirs again when you speak. Why chains seem lighter when you pray. It is because your faith carries light that exposes lies and reveals truth. You are a lamp in the valley, a torchbearer in the storm, chosen to illuminate paths for those who have lost their way. The enemy knows this, which is why he has worked so hard to convince you that your light is small. He whispers, "You are insignificant. You don't matter." But the reality is the opposite. Your faith terrifies him because it cannot be extinguished. Even in your weakest moment, you shine. Even when you cry, you glow. Even when you question, you still carry light. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 27, verse 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? This is your anthem. Your faith is not your own invention. It flows from the eternal light himself, the one who dwells within you. That is why you cannot be overcome. Chosen one. Remember how fire behaves. When the wind blows against it, the flame does not always die. It often grows stronger. So it is with your faith. Every gust of adversity that tried to snuff you out only fed the flame. Every hardship became oxygen. Every battle became fuel. Instead of extinguishing you, the storm has enlarged your fire. Do not despise the darkness around you, for it is in the darkest night that light is seen most clearly. The stars do not vanish when the sun sets. They only become visible against the black sky. Your faith shines brightest when circumstances seem impossible. That is when heaven uses you as a beacon to draw others toward hope. And you must know this: your light is not fragile. It is contagious. When others witness your endurance, their own faith is reignited. When they see you standing unshaken, they remember that they, too, carry light. You are more than chosen for yourself. You are chosen to awaken others. So walk boldly into the night. Do not hide your flame out of fear of rejection. Do not dim your light to make others comfortable. You were not meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out. Let your faith shine in conversations, in decisions, in silence, in action. Every moment is a chance to radiate the light within you. Chosen one. This is who you are, a flame that cannot be quenched, a light that cannot be hidden, a chosen vessel carrying faith that terrifies darkness. The night is deep, but dawn is near, and your light is proof that the morning is coming. Chosen one. Your obedience is not a small thing. It is not simply about following rules or fulfilling obligations. It is the spark that ignites movements. Every time you say yes to God, a ripple begins. It moves beyond you, beyond your circumstances, beyond even your generation. What feels like a single act of obedience in your life becomes the very catalyst for breakthrough in countless others. This is why obedience feels so costly, because it carries weight, because it matters more than you realize. Your surrender is not isolated, it is multiplied. When you choose faithfulness in private, the effect echoes in public. When you deny fear and step forward, you make space for others to do the same. Heaven uses your obedience as a key, not only to unlock your destiny, but to release others from their prisons. Consider Abraham. One act of obedience to leave his homeland, to trust God without knowing where he was going, became the seed of nations. Think of Esther. Her obedience to risk her life before the king delivered an entire people from destruction. Think of Peter. His simple yes to leave his nets became the foundation of the church. None of them could have measured the weight of their obedience in the moment, but generations testify to it now. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding." This trust, this surrender, is the essence of obedience. It is faith in action. It is choosing to believe that God sees the whole picture when you only see fragments. Chosen one, your obedience is shaping stories you will never hear. Someone will find courage because you did not give up. Someone will find faith because you kept walking when it made no sense. Someone will rise because you showed it was possible. This is the ripple effect of obedience. It outlives you. It outlasts you. It multiplies beyond you. And yes, obedience requires sacrifice. Sometimes it feels like laying down your comfort, your timing, your plans. But every sacrifice is seed. Nothing you surrender is ever lost. It is transformed into fruit that will nourish others. Your obedience is never wasted. It is always invested. You may never stand on a platform, never see your name in lights, never hear applause for your hidden obedience. But heaven records every yes. Angels witness it. God smiles upon it. And eternity will reveal the weight of it. That quiet decision you made to forgive, that hidden choice to keep believing, that unseen act of love, these are victories that echo louder than you know. So do not minimize your obedience. Do not say, "It doesn't matter." It matters profoundly. You are chosen not only to receive light, but to pass it forward. Your obedience is a torch, and once it's lit, it spreads. Others will see it, catch it, and carry it further than you ever imagined. Chosen one, walk in this truth. You are part of an unstoppable movement, not because of grand gestures, but because of consistent faith, not because of dramatic moments, but because of steady obedience. Heaven calls your yes powerful. Hell fears it. And the world will one day see its ripple effects written in lives, transformed by the choices you made in faith. Chosen one, you are stepping into a moment where heaven itself confirms who you are. For so long, you have walked in silence, carrying promises in your heart without visible proof. You have been misunderstood, overlooked, even doubted. Yet now the Father declares, "This is my chosen one, in whom I delight." Your faith has brought you to a stage not built by human hands but raised by divine intention. Heaven is about to display you as proof of what faith can accomplish. Think of Jesus at the Jordan River. Before he performed a single miracle, before he preached a single sermon, heaven opened, and the voice of the Father thundered, affirming his identity. The crowd didn't crown him, heaven did. The same is happening in your life. Your crown, your confirmation, your recognition do not come from people, they come from God himself. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8. There is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord will award to all who love his appearing. This crown is not a symbol of status. It is heaven's confirmation that your faith has not been in vain. Chosen one. The enemy tried to shame you, but heaven covers you in honor. The world tried to silence you, but heaven announces you, and your life now becomes a testimony to others. If God can raise you up, He can raise them too. This is why I ask something of you, not out of routine, but from the heart. If this word speaks to your spirit, then like, share, comment, and subscribe. Why? Because every one of those actions is more than digital, it is prophetic. Liking is you saying, I align with this truth. Sharing is you declaring, this word must reach others who need it. Subscribing is you planting yourself in a continual stream of encouragement, ensuring your faith is nourished consistently. And your comment is not just engagement, it is testimony. It becomes the visible echo of your agreement with what heaven is already declaring over you. Think about it. Someone on the edge of giving up may stumble upon this message because you shared it. Someone who feels unseen may realize they are chosen because you took one small step of obedience. That is how God works. Your act of faith multiplies into someone else's breakthrough. Do not underestimate the power of community. Chosen one. When you engage, you are not only receiving, but also pouring back. You are strengthening the circle of faith. You are lifting others as you are lifted. That's why I invite you, be more than a listener. Be a builder. Build with us by spreading what God is doing here. And remember, this is not about numbers. It is about souls. Every like represents a heart agreeing with heaven. Every share represents a life that might be saved. Every comment represents faith made visible. Every subscription represents someone choosing to remain connected to life-giving words instead of drowning in voices of despair. Chosen one. The announcement has already been made in heaven. You are chosen. You are crowned. You are confirmed. Now, let it echo on earth through your faith and your bold response. Heaven has called you. The world will soon see what has been spoken over you all along. Chosen one. Your life is not only a story of endurance, it is living proof. You stand today as evidence that faith is stronger than despair, that light is stronger than darkness, and that hope is stronger than every chain that tried to hold you captive. Others may see scars, but heaven sees testimony. Every mark of pain has become a mark of glory, a reminder that nothing can destroy what God has sealed. Your very existence is prophetic. You are a sign to those around you that God is still moving, still redeeming, still lifting the broken and setting captives free. When people look at you, they see someone who should have given up long ago, someone who should have been silenced by rejection, someone who should have been crushed under the weight of disappointment. But you are still standing. That is proof enough. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 37. In all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. Notice the words, more than conquerors. You are not simply surviving, you are overcoming with abundance, with authority, with victory written across your life. Chosen one. Think about the seasons you thought would break you. There were nights where tears seemed endless, days when the weight felt unbearable. Yet here you are, not just surviving, but thriving in ways you once thought impossible. That is the power of faith. It transforms weakness into strength, loss into legacy, pain into purpose. You have become living evidence that surrender is not defeat, but the doorway to divine strength. Others who feel crushed will find courage through your resilience. Others who feel unseen will find hope through your story. You are not just carrying testimony, you are testimony, and testimony is more powerful than argument, more persuasive than reason. Testimony pierces the heart because it carries the undeniable weight of lived truth. Do you see now why you had to go through the wilderness? The rejection, the hidden battles. It was never just about you. It was about shaping you into a vessel others could look at and say, if God did it for them, He can do it for me. That is why you are chosen, not to hide what you've walked through, but to shine as proof of God's faithfulness. And the proof is not only in what you survived, but in who you are becoming, the patience you developed, the wisdom you gained, the compassion that flows from your heart. These are fruits of faith that cannot be faked. They are the lasting evidence that God has been shaping you all along. Beloved, never minimize your journey. Never dismiss the battles you fought in silence. They are chapters in a story much larger than you realize. The world needs your living proof. Heaven delights in it. Hell trembles at it. Because every time you rise, every time you walk forward, every time you refuse to let go of faith, you proclaim without words, God is alive, and His promises are true. Chosen one, wear this truth boldly. You are not simply someone who believes, you are the evidence of what belief can do. You are the living proof that faith is the key to breakthrough. And no one can take that from you. Chosen one, you have walked through valleys, climbed mountains, endured deserts, and faced storms. Yet one truth has carried you through them all: faith. And now, you stand at the threshold of your greatest breakthrough. What once felt distant is drawing near. What once seemed impossible is unfolding before your very eyes. The fullness of the promise is no longer a dream, it is becoming your reality. Faith was never meant to be a one-time act. It has been your constant companion, the invisible thread weaving every season together. It was faith that sustained you in sorrow, faith that strengthened you in weakness, and faith that propelled you forward when nothing else made sense. And now that same faith is ushering you into the season of manifested glory. The Word of God declares in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 8, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. I know that you have little strength, yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. This is your moment. Chosen one, heaven acknowledges your endurance, and heaven rewards your faith. Your breakthrough is not fragile, it is secured by the one who promised it. It is not temporary, it carries eternal weight. And it is not just for you, it is for those who will witness your story and find hope in it. Your life is becoming a declaration that faith unlocks what nothing else can. Chosen one, think of where you started. The tears, the doubts, the nights when giving up felt easier than holding on. And yet you chose to believe. Every yes you gave to God in the dark has built the foundation of this moment in the light. Your breakthrough is not sudden, it has been in motion the entire time, hidden beneath the surface, waiting for the appointed hour. That hour is now. Do not fear the weight of this blessing. Do not shrink from the doors that swing wide. You have been prepared, refined, and strengthened for such a time as this. What seemed like delay was preparation, what felt like loss was pruning. And now, every thread comes together into a tapestry of glory that only faith could weave. Chosen one, This is the truth you must carry into the days ahead. Your best days are not behind you, they are unfolding now. Your destiny is not on pause, it is advancing with power. Your crown is not in question, it rests securely on your head. You are not forgotten, you are revealed. This is your breakthrough, and it will not be stolen. Walk into it with courage. Lift your head with confidence, and let your faith continue to shine as the key that unlocks every new door. Heaven rejoices, earth will witness, and eternity records that you, chosen one, stood faithful, and now you walk in glory. Chosen one, you have walked with me through this entire journey. Word by word, truth by truth, revelation by revelation. From the first moment, heaven whispered that your faith is the key, all the way to the final declaration of breakthrough. You have stayed present. That in itself is proof of your hunger, your readiness, your calling. This was never just information, it was transformation. Now hear me, your story does not end here. What you have read is not a conclusion, but a continuation. The seeds planted in your spirit through these words are meant to grow, to bear fruit, to shift atmospheres around you. Do not walk away and let them fade. Guard them, nurture them, act on them. Heaven has confirmed over and over again, you are chosen, you are marked. You are unstoppable when you walk in faith. And this is where I ask you, from the depth of sincerity, let's not keep this fire to ourselves. If even one word stirred your heart, if even one line reminded you of your identity, then, like this message. Why? Because every like is a visible declaration that you agree with what God has spoken over you. It's you saying, "This word was for me. I receive it." Lend, go further, share this message. There is someone scrolling right now who feels on the verge of giving up, someone who believes their story is over. Your simple act of sharing could become the lifeline heaven uses to pull them back into hope. Never underestimate the reach of obedience. Your one click could be the reason someone chooses to live, chooses to believe again. And yes, subscribe. Stay connected, not because of algorithms or numbers, but because your spirit needs a continual flow of truth. The world is loud with voices of fear, doubt, and distraction. You need voices that remind you of your identity, that stir your faith, that point you back to God's promises. Subscribing is choosing to stay aligned with encouragement rather than isolation. Finally, comment. Don't just scroll silently. Leave even a few words as your testimony. Maybe it's, "I receive this." Maybe it's, "Faith is my key." Maybe it's just, "Amen." Why does it matter? Because when you write it, you seal it. You turn unseen agreement into visible declaration. And your words may inspire another reader who feels timid to step out in faith. Chosen one, you are part of something bigger than you realize. Every like, every share, every comment, every subscription builds a community of faith warriors who refuse to bow to fear. Lights who refuse to hide in the dark. Chosen ones who walk boldly into breakthrough together. So lift your head, smile with confidence, carry this word into your tomorrow, and let the world see what heaven has already declared. You are chosen, your faith is the key, and your breakthrough has begun.